Welcome back to Open Your Eyes. We are about to venture off into our final segment for the morning. Tips on how to handle emergencies for the upcoming festive season, which is right around the corner. And we've got this guy in with us, no stranger to us, or maybe a stranger to you, Javier Canul. Do you know him? He's actually the founder of ABC Services. Javier, good morning.
ABC Life Support.
ABC Life Support.
That's
All right.
right.
Good morning and welcome.
Good morning.
Ah,
happy to be here.
I know the voice, but the face is strange.
Javier has no problem talking about his dual life as Aussie and also as a medic. In fact, one of the most experienced medics in the country. Javier, you've become you're very well known as an EMT, and for the past 2 years you've been working on your own with ABC Life Services. Talk to me a bit about what the company does.
Okay, ABC Life Support is a company designed specifically for professional detailed training. What we do is we offer basic first aid training, advanced first aid training, up to medical first responder training.
Wow.
And we also do accompaniments for patients who need to leave Belize to go wherever, recommended by professionals, professional doctors. We also do home care services when needed. From time to time we are asked to do that. We do simulations on the workplace for companies who ask for these things. I would love to do one for Channel 5 if asked. Or
have you seen those stairways?
We set up simulations wherever in the country, whether it's for what they call it, a multilateral task force, see how well people work together. So we come with a wealth of experience and knowledge, and we're backed up by 2 professionals, actually 3 professionals. I have my 2 sons who are medical officers. They actually make sure that whatever I'm teaching goes in line with what, as a doctor, in line with what's going on. And I also have a recommended doctor, Dr. Hidalgo, who also from time to time would chip in and giving me advice and make sure that I'm on the right track.
But you've been doing this for you've been in this field for over 10 years, and your company now.
I've been in the field for over, well, actually, now it's going to be about 20 years.
20 years.
Yeah, I've been working with one of the most prestigious ambulance services in the country. But I've parted and now on my own in ABC Life Support.
And your company been up for 2 years.
For 2 years, that's right. It's running for 2 years. I've been having great strides in success in, because of the type of training that we offer. And I try to reach out to every single person in the country, whether you're a professional or just a layman on the street.
And that's why, Javier, you are so equipped to have this conversation with us, because you have seen so many things over the years, from car accidents to mass casualties to just the basic fainting on the street.
That's right, and a lot of hands-on experience. These hands have seen and done as much as the eyes have seen. These hands have worked.
So talk to us. You know, the celebration time is a time where people they're out in public a lot, in large gatherings. It's a very hot time of year. There's a lot of celebratory drinking. All kinds of things are happening. Tell me some of the things that you wish people would take in consideration in terms of their safety.
Wow, thank you for that question, actually. But just before I answer that question, I hope I don't get into trouble. Well, not trouble. I must say this, that ABC Life Support have a wonderful woman behind it, who is a part director for the company, and her name is Andrea. She wanted to be here, but she can't. So I just want to shout out Andrea, who's probably looking at us right now. But let's get back to the question in reference to the heat. In Belize, we're in a heat wave right now. We haven't been, there hasn't been rain, and we wear clothing like these and others, and it's getting to us. Coming here, I had to come with my shirt in my hand because I was pouring down.
It's too hot.
I just want to encourage everybody. Basically, water is the source of life. Without water, we can't do anything. If you have hard bunk, so to speak, water could cure the feeling. If we have a headache, slight headache, any kind of dizziness, any kind of nauseated feeling, water is probably the cure for it. If after you drink water and things don't fix up, please go see your medical doctor, emergency personnel. I want to encourage you, if you're working in the sun, the people who are toiling out there, digging holes in the street, don't have shade, that sort of thing, to drink water probably every 15 minutes as much as you can. Try to get in the shade as often as you can. Not to say that you want to complete your job, but you need to be in the shade. You need to drink a lot of water. Stay away from caffeinated drinks. Drink people say sport-related drinks, such as Gatorade. The other one, well, I don't remember them. Powerade and those type of drinks, they're very good because they have electrolytes that help you. So when we sweat out a lot of water with salt. We don't eat salt, but yes, we consume water to try to get back. How we get salt is by eating maybe crackers or maybe pan crema biscuits or anything that has a little touch of salt with it, and that is how our body gains the salt. So when we sweat water, we sweat salt. So these are things that we need to put in there.
One of the greatest misconceptions I think people have is that because we grow up in a hot country that we're just more used to it. How many, I mean, you often get calls from people, you know, fainting or extreme dehydration. Tell me how frequently you see it and who do you see more suffering from it?
Okay, in Belize, and that's true, that's quite a misconception. We need the water, whether it doesn't matter who you are and which country you go. I leave from here and I go to Mexico City, I consume more water because I don't know what it is like. Even though it has a cooler temperature, and when we go up, when the day gets cool, we still need to consume the same amount of water. Kids and older folks are the one that this affects most. Why? Because their body temperature are not properly regulated like ours. A child is developing and hence their body temperature does not regulate properly until they reach a certain age. The saying says once a man, twice a child, John, like me, you go through them fears. And so the older we get, our body doesn't regulate as well as it would when we used to be in our teenage to maybe 30 years old. So those two age range are what it would affect. And as a result, for example, many times you see mom out on the street with their young babies quite wrapped up and say, I know my baby get burned, but that poor child is in there sweating because their body temperature is not properly regulated.
You shouldn't do that, right?
You shouldn't. Well, yes and no, because you don't want them to be burned, but you need to make sure that they're properly ventilated and they're recirculating. Also, if you go to older folks, they would wear 2 or 3 layers of clothing. And those layers of clothing, they will be sweating quite a lot. So, because they like to wear layers, remember the body temperature is not properly regulated, so they might feel cold in this hot weather.
In strange times.
So then we will have to make sure that they take off that one and keep them drinking water every 15 minutes or as often as they need to. And remember, it's not only water. A little salt. Give them a little orange with salt on top because they need to replace back that salt.
But, and we don't know the signs of dehydration because it starts very early. You know, I once saw a child who was severely dehydrated right in front of me, and I'd never known it before. I didn't know the symptoms. The child just kept on saying it was at a school and he couldn't extend his hands. He's about 6 or 7. He's like, and all his joints started to lock up and he just couldn't move. And I had no idea that was dehydration. We could have given him water, but I didn't know. This is about 15 years ago. I do know better now. But there are signs. That's my point.
The signs, basically, some of the signs you'd want to look for is basically if people start complaining of headaches, feeling a little nauseated. Those are some of the first signs you would see. And to confirm these things, especially in older folks, you can squeeze their skin.
Pinch the skin.
And it should have that tuger. Right now, if you squeeze your skin, it should return back to its normal. But if you squeeze it and it stays up, that means that's a sign of dehydration.
Wow.
Looking at that tongue as well, if it looks white and it looks cakey, cracked up, that's because they're suffering from dehydration. Also, you can look at what the bottom part of the eye, and if it doesn't look white, it doesn't look moist, then you know that they're dehydrated.
As well.
So that knowing nausea, their dizziness, some altered mental status will help them, especially if they have been sweating for quite a long time. Those are some of the signs that you'd have to look for.
One of the things that you touch on that strikes me is the fact that people with young children, they want to go on out and they want to see the parades, they want to see the carnival revelers, they want to see everything else everything that everybody is seeing. What would you recommend taking young children, especially in this heat out there? And I really don't want to knock on anybody, but it's the reality. What are your recommendations?
Basically, I would say it's their own choice, basically. But if they do, make sure that you have a proper ventilated area, maybe in a vehicle, or maybe have an umbrella, because the shade helps a lot.
Very important.
And we don't want the child to be exposed to the sun because it can burn their skin. So keep them on an umbrella in a cool area, passing by. and you know, keep them moist or keep them, giving them water and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Stay away from the Coca-Cola, stay away from the ideals as much as possible. Your body doesn't need that. What it actually needs is water. For the revelers, we're all grown adults. We can't tell them what to do, but some people go through the night drinking and then they go to camp, get ready for the carnival, and that is something that affects a lot of them. I've been on several carnivals, picking up some of the revelers don't even complete the carnival because of what they're doing during the night. If you want to go out all night, and you want to know you should be in the carnival the following day, drink a lot of water. Water is one of the first things you should drink in the morning time. Drink, even if your body doesn't call for it. You're not thirsty. You need to put it in.
People wait till they're thirsty, but you have to just drink it because.
That's right, because the body needs it. That's what makes your skin look nice and beautiful. It allows your eyes to roll about. Sometimes you feel like sun in your eye. You drink water and see what happened. That just the water need to make it be
even if you're in an air-conditioned office, you should be drinking a lot of
water. A lot of water,
yeah.
even as if you're outdoors.
Yeah. Well, what about resting? Because like you mentioned, we've got the Carnival Juve. There's a concert
Resting
before.
is key.
So you go to the concert, you leave from there, you go to the Juve, you go back with your friends, you take some drinks, then you go into the Carnival. Talk to us about resting.
Wow. Well, the body can only take so much, and sometimes we push our body overboard, and we don't even know that. We're feeling it, but we avoid these signs. Why? Because we want to make sure that we're present and accountable for when things are happening. We want to do that, and so it actually occurs for younger people. I mean, when I say younger people, I mean the people who are teenagers, basically. Because most of the older folks, you'll find them resting, even though they're in Carnival, they're resting the night before.
And they don't land.
They don't land. They've been through it. And when we, and I say me because I'm beyond that now, when I used to be in a Carnival and I used to do a lot of stuff. So and I remember one time walking on my stilts and I couldn't even finish because of dehydration and heat exhaustion. So the older folks would be resting and go to Carnival and they make it quite well. The younger folks, most of them end up,
hours,
and then when they're thirsty, because most people would say, hey, we got this energy drink, and instead of drinking water, they grab this energy drink, and so it doesn't work for them. But I just want to go back a little bit. First, you suffer there's two phases. There is a heat stroke, and there's heat exhaustion. With heat exhaustion, that's when your body sweats profusely, meaning you're sweating like crazy. That's when you need to replenish, and also with a little salt. If you do not pay attention to that heat exhaustion phase, that's when you'll end up into a heat stroke. And it can only take about 30 minutes for you to really go where your brain starts to fry and all the liquid inside starts to boil, because there's no other water. There's no water coming out. So your body, that's what's going to happen. It's like, I always tell my students when I teach about heat exhaustion, if you ever notice a car that have a leaky radiator, what do you see coming out when the vehicle, you see steam coming out. Why? Because that steam is cooling off the body. The heat is not being contained inside the machine. The heat is being pushed out. And what our body does is the same. But how our body does it is that we sweat. When we sweat, it promotes or it forms droplets of water, and when breeze blows on it, it promotes evaporation, and that's how we keep the body cool. So our body does the same thing, but just that
it's a different, different way.
It's a different, it's a different thing.
So you have to pay attention to the signs of dehydration and heat exhaustion.
Oh, yes.
These are very common, I think, on the outdoor activities where people are waiting. Because even if you're not a Carnival reveler, people start to wait or line up for Carnival from long before.
And they have to stay cool. You have to be in your, keep your umbrella with you, keep water, keep a little snack with you, something salty. You might be just standing there, but you're sweating.
You're exposed to the heat. But there's also, it's compounded by the fact that we're either having sugary drinks or we're having alcohol or the combination of both. Why is this such a lethal combination?
Okay, for sugar. Every time you consume sugar, all the water that you drink follow that sugar. And as a result, it doesn't come to your skin. You don't sweat anymore, but you will urine a lot. And when you urinate, a little drop on the ground, and then sugar gets ants come to it because you urine out all the body. It's getting rid of all the excess sugar it doesn't need.
So the water in your body tries to dilute the sugar.
That's right.
So it's taking out the water.
And so it's not functioning in any capacity, but to get rid of the sugar that is messing up with the body. When it comes to alcohol, it's basically the same principle. Alcohol has a lot of sugar in it, and it's basically the same principle. One thing I want to talk about real quick is should there be anybody who's suffering from any type of emergencies, that
yes.
is, I want the general public to be aware that there is an ambulance service in Belize City.
Yes.
Make sure you have that number and be ready to call. They are the experts.
Yeah.
Call Bert directly.
Call them directly. They are the experts.
Yeah.
You can do what you can do, but while you're waiting, make sure that you've called, or rather you call them, and while you're waiting, do what you have to do.
Yeah.
Now, I want you to explain this because this is important. I think people call 911, and you can. There's no problem with calling 911. The issue is that it's a diversion call. So
That's
you call
right.
a center,
Yeah.
then they call for you, which can be wasted time.
That's right. Yeah.
So if you want to be more efficient, you can store the number in your phone.
Very good. Very
But
well.
you're saying that you want to call them first before reacting, right? Why is that?
Oh, that's very important, because the bottom line is this. If you call them, you can always call them back and say it's okay.
Yeah.
But if you don't call them, then precious time is being wasted.
Yeah.
And time is actually muscle, and time is actually brain.
Yeah.
Because if, for example, for the brain, no oxygen, the brain will die. Same thing for the heart.
Yeah.
Muscle die. So you must call those numbers. And even before that, if you get a chance to take a basic first aid course now, whichever company you choose, which I would recommend ABC Life Support, because that's where you'll see me, okay?
Yeah.
But make sure that you learn, so that while you start to take care of your patient first, make somebody call for help.
Yeah.
And I'm sure the guys on the ambulance, they know what to do. I was a part of their training method, so they know exactly what to do when they come.
Yes.
And the thing
And they
is,
are professionals, so they
they
work
have
in
a
a professional capacity.
on the line that
That's
will
right.
guide you through what to do.
Very well.
So where I may be guessing how to respond to your emergency, there might be a medic on the phone.
There is always a medic on the phone.
Who will say, okay, have you done X, Y, Z? Turn them, don't turn them, clear the space, fan them, I don't know what else, throw cold water.
No.
That's what I'm saying.
Let me get into that, because let me get into
Yes,
that. Treatment
do.
basically for the heat exhaustion. Try to get them into somewhere very cool. Maybe one AC vehicle, or back on one AC, or a big Hammond's tree or berries tree.
In shade.
Please don't put down a
shade.
coconut tree, because we don't want nothing to all right, in shade. Then you
Yes.
want to remove the clothing, only the necessary clothing, John, not everything.
Yeah.
The necessary clothing, and then you get water, pour it on a rag or something, and just tap them like that. Why? Because when you sweat, what does it come out? Droplets of water. So you want to promote that droplets
cool
of water.
down
So
it.
when
So
breeze, the same process follows. So you're helping the body to stay cool by promoting that droplets of water. So when breeze blowing it, it goes out.
Cool.
So
Don't
you will
throw cold water on them.
no cold water in
Why?
them. That's taking them from one extreme
To the other.
to the next extreme. We don't want to do that.
Yeah.
If you're trained, maybe like a military personnel, you can withstand that treatment. But for us who are out here, we are not used to that type of treatment. You'll create other problems.
More problems.
Yeah. So we don't
But
want to
There's
do that.
also another issue in very crowded days. You're thinking, expo, you're thinking carnival, you're thinking 21st.
Concerts. These,
No, I mean the outdoor ones, because what I'm saying is the traffic is going to be a challenge, and we don't think about that. I can't imagine how hard it is to get to the emergency room, even with the paths cleared, which is the assumption with the carnival route. To get there, if anybody ever drives on Carnival Day, Expo Day, or 21st Day, just moving through the city is a challenge.
Yeah.
What can you do to prepare for that? I mean,
Well, I'm glad that the people who are in charge of September celebration has tend to divert routes and keep people away from the hospital, because we need to keep that route open.
Yes.
I would encourage people to just park away and keep your umbrella and just walk to get where you need to go.
To the particular spot.
So, so the less traffic that is there, and the less blockage that is there, will allow the ambulance and anybody else who needs to get to the hospital as quickly as possible.
And it's their life they're saving,
That's right.
But more so, Javier, there'll be a lot of big companies taking part in the carnival. You want to showcase your products, you want to showcase what you've got. You and your company ABC, you do life support services, and how can they get to you? And this is a perfect time for some training. Is there any training going on right now, and how can they do that?
Actually, I work by, if you call me and you have your group of people, I get there and I do my training.
Yes.
And it depends on the type of training that you want, okay?
Yes.
what's the average cost per group?
Well, it depends. Well, anything more than 12, anything more than 12 people, you'll be paying like $40 per person.
Okay.
Anything less than 12, you're paying a little more, which would be about $45 or so per person.
That's affordable.
Yeah.
Which is
for an investment on how to save a life.
One more thing for me.
He's not finished.
Sure.
And then I lost my train of thought, but I wanted to follow up on that question that you asked.
You schedule your trainings based on when people call.
Yes, and how can they reach me? Well, I have a Facebook page.
Yeah.
A lot of people reach me by the Facebook page, and I've been a lot of teachers have been reaching out to me. And you can reach me on that Facebook page, and there's question you can ask me on the Facebook page, or you can reach me at 615-5757. The number is there on the Facebook page.
Yeah.
Or you can send me an email at ozebz@yahoo.com. OZEZIEBZ@yahoo.com.
At yahoo.com.
Yes, at yahoo.com. I haven't worked on the email address page. So I just
not letting go of that double life.
I can't because most people know me as Ozzy, so they want to follow that way.
OzzyBZ@yahoo.com.
But Javier, I can't let you leave without talking about accident scenes, because we do know, and in fact I know that there's an initiative that's going to be early in September focusing on drunk driving or driving under the influence.
Yes.
Because this is a time where we see a lot of very terrible accidents actually, the road safety people say we shouldn't call it accidents because it's not an accident, it's a crash. An accident means it happened unintentionally, but when you make certain choices like drinking and driving or distracted driving or speeding or not wearing your seatbelt, then it's a crash.
Yeah.
But there's so many things that happen in a response scene that or that we do that's wrong and can actually be more life-threatening to the people who've been involved.
Okay. It's a little sticky situation because, first of all, if you're not trained, it becomes very, everybody wants to help and nobody does anything. I've seen so many videos around where people are crying, people are bleeding out, and nobody does anything.
Yes.
Yeah. They're videoing though.
Yeah, and they're videoing, and some of the simple things they can learn is, and I know that sometimes we'll say, oh, I can't do this, I can't do that. Well, if you can't, why are you videoing in the first place?
Yeah.
But first of all, we must learn to respect people's privacy.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. Would you want somebody to be videoing your family member there in the ground?
Yeah, watching them die.
Watching them die. The next thing I want to say is, if at least you can open that person's airway for them to breathe.
Yes.
So how
because
do we do
if they're
that?
not breathing, they certainly will end up dying. So if they're like that and they're, you need to put a hand on the forehead, 2 fingers at the corner of the jaw, and just get that head back. Okay. That's my recommendation.
That's it.
If you're not a trained personnel, that's what you want to do.
Hand on forehead, finger back on the jaw.
And push the head back. Yeah.
So let's look at the different scenarios. One, people unfortunately still don't use their seatbelts. So we have a lot of persons who've been ejected out of cars. So they might be on the pavement, bleeding, potentially, if they're still alive. How can I respond to them? What would I do to stop the bleeding and to get the airway?
Yeah, I was getting to that, and I mentioned that if you're not trained, so you can put your 2 fingers under the jaw, push the head back. You want to open this area where they can actually breathe.
Okay.
The trained personnel will know that they have to use what you call a jaw thrust maneuver, and sometimes I'm going to tell you that over my 17 years working at BERT, I've never used a jaw thrust maneuver, ever.
Okay.
But the important thing is open that airway quickly. That shouldn't take long. It's as quick as this. I'm kind of restricted in movement, so I can't move. Right?
So it's head and the corner
forehead
of the jaw.
and the corner of the jaw, which is right about here.
Yeah.
If you put your finger here, what you'll do is
on the chin, you
close
the ear.
Oh,
so at the corner of the jaw, so you can push the head back. So if it's like this, that's
push up. Yes.
That's it.
So more force on the forehead.
On the forehead,
But this on the corner of the jaw is to make sure that you clear the trachea as well.
That's right.
Okay.
Okay.
First step.
And that is very quick. You need to do that as quick as possible. The second thing is stop any bleeding that you see. How do we stop that bleeding? It's simple, by applying direct pressure. You might say, well, I don't have a glove, I'm afraid to touch my hand. But a lot of plastic bag, we contaminate the city so much that we see plastic bag all over the place.
So you could use that?
Put your hand in a plastic bag and apply direct pressure, maybe get somebody's shirt or maybe the patient's shirt or a rag, and put direct pressure on that area to contain the bleeding.
Okay.
People say, what if the man gets shot? Hey, it's still bleeding. It's the same procedure. It's the same procedure, just put pressure.
Okay.
You know, you can't stop the internal bleeding, but you're doing something.
But you can stop them from bleeding out.
Yes. Yes.
Should we move the person?
No. If you're not trained, don't move them.
The person.
And this is why if everybody does a basic first aid course, you will save that, you will maintain the person to keep them alive. Sorry, you'll keep them alive until a professional come, such as the ambulance service, they will come and they will take over. But if you don't do anything, the chances of that person dying is very high because you didn't do anything. Maybe by just opening the airway, that person will live.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Maybe by just applying direct pressure and trying to control the bleeding, that person will live.
Why shouldn't you move them? Because I think the challenge is that people just know I mean, it's well intentioned. They just want to get them to help.
Yes.
And I agree with that in 100%.
Yes.
In extreme cases where let's say you're wait a mile.
Coastal road.
Coastal road. Now, if you're left-handed, dead. And at that point, you have to think about life over limb.
Yeah.
You need to move the person.
Yeah.
All right? And if you need to move them, try to lag roll them. Lag rolling means just like when you roll a lag, you notice that not only the front go, the whole lag move together. So that's the way you want to do. Let the person move in unison. All right? Try hold the head, and some other persons hold the body and just roll them so that the whole body can move. You don't want to push the body and the head this up. Because then you're defeating the purpose.
Because the thing is that someone can end up paralyzed or die as a result.
But in extreme cases, it's best to become paralyzed and survive rather than not living any at all. If you're in this area in Belize City where there's lots of vehicles and traffic and you know the ambulance can get there, do not move them. Just do the life-saving techniques. Airway, breathing. Airway and bleeding. Stop that bleeding. And if they're not bleeding any at all, and if they're not breathing and they're not bleeding, then you do hands-only CPR, which is highly recommended. By that I mean all you do is get on that chest. And I like to tell people, raw language, titi, chest, titi. Put your hand on the two titi there, lean over, and I think I have a video on that where it's hand-only CPR. And the reason for that, and I encourage people to try that, is many times we see people on the ground and we don't want to go John because they are red top. So we don't want to go put them out, they are homeless.
Yeah.
But when you drop, when you collapse, oxygen remains in the body for a period of time. A lot of oxygen, rich. But if you don't push down, the oxygen just want to deplete. But if you push down, you get the brain and the heart functioning, and oxygen is moving around without you having to give breaths. But while you're doing that, you should have already called for help to the professionals.
Yes, so they could come.
So that once they come, they bring everything that they need to get the person alive. But people need to understand that CPR alone will not save a person's life. They need an electric shock to get that heart going. That's why you need to make sure you make the help. Immediately.
First thing, car.
That's right.
First thing, car.
That's right.
All right, finally for me, being that time is not on our side, festive season again, carnival again, or all the other things that will be going on, binge drinking. Some people pass out from binge drinking, pass out because they're drinking too much. What can we do for that person?
Just get them to the hospital as quick as possible. You can't do anything for them out here.
No water, no pour water.
Nothing, just get them to the hospital.
If a person blacks out, it's an emergency situation. Is that the case?
That is the case until you know why they have blacked out. Because if somebody comes and say, why, your wind scratch it, your wind 30, and you black out.
You're black
no,
out.
but I mean from drinking.
From drinking.
That's an emergency, That's
because you can suffer alcohol poisoning.
Of course, but there's nothing you can do for that person out there. You need to get them into the hospital where they start an IV line and the process continues.
All right.
Well,
those were
John, sorry. And I say there's nothing you can do, but besides, make sure you open that airway and the person is breathing.
Okay.
But if the person will not be bleeding, but you need to keep them breathing. So open that airway and breathe for them.
All right. Well, thank you so much for these tips.
You're welcome. It's always a pleasure.
And
thank you for having me.
We really hope that we have helped some people to know what to do in an emergency, but even more so be inspired to get trained in basic CPRs or first aid so that they can respond accordingly. Thank you once again, Javier.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
We'll take a break and we'll be back in a few. Please stay tuned.